Alright, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the World Team League Summer. That's right, we have KZ Gaming versus Shopify Rebellion. It's bottom right hand corner, it is Scarlett. And in the top left, for KZ Gaming, it is Reynor. And we're hopping through the matches a little bit here to get to the highlights, but as you can see, already off to that 1-1 start. Got a trade early on in the first set. Again, a quick refresher for those of you that maybe aren't up to date on the WTL or just checking it out. How these matches work is that they are sets of two. Two players are pitted against each other. They will play 2 games. Regardless of the score, that is all that they will play, and then you'll move on to the next match. Hence why we have a 1-1 score after one of our matches being done. So that means between Scarlett and Reynor here, there is a chance we go 1-1. There's a chance, either player maybe 2-0s the other. Of course, you have to kind of expect that Reynor will probably have a bit of the advantage. Reynor right now is in pretty darn good form. I believe Reynor is just pretty much coming off of his win in King of Battles over Cyril, a 4-0 sweep in that grand finals. And Scarlett is in good form. However, we'll see if that's going to be enough to overcome the Titan that is Reynor. Of course, recently did drop from Clash, signed to KZ, mostly so he could participate in WTL, but also just to have another team supporting him. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. We're on to, of course, Curious Minds for this first map, and Curious Minds as the map pick is one that I think on ZVZ becomes very, very volatile. As you can see on this map, there's a lot of open space. We're kind of just tiptoeing and hopping between the main bases here, but as you get towards the third, as you get towards the taking a third, fourth, and even a fifth, there is a lot of open space. It's a map that naturally lends itself to concaves, so Roach Ravager is quite good on this map. You will, I think the most common build that you will see, build order out of Zergs on this map is going to be your pool, your hatchery, gas pool. You're going to get, of course, your speed up quickly into a Roach Warren around 420 alongside that third base, with Lings, of course, to defend. Now, that is a standard Roach opening. We will see if that is switched up, if that is changed. There's definitely a chance that neither of these players end up doing that. I know that Reynor, in particular, is a big fan of Lingbane Muta. It's a style that he likes a lot in ZVZ. It's really what set him on the radar, is that he was actually switching up the matchup. He was changing how people were playing, and we do see the third bases go down with the Baneling Nest. So everything's standard so far with this early game harass. Scarlett's going to bring her Lings over. Actually, he's going to start to lose this first trade, Reynor. Some very nice micro before the third and fourth Lings are brought over. And ZVZ, as a matchup, is a lot about these early trades. It's a lot about how much information you can get, and really how you're able to control these early kind of skirmishes. And in the long run, it's not going to result in really too much of a difference, unless, of course, you are going for a Ling flood, which you see Reynor here, 16 Lings already in that production tab. Scarlett is matching it blindly here, of course, just getting up to her own heavy count for when she produces Banelings. But it is going to be timed out nicely because Reynor is committing quite heavily, mind you. There is no Roach Warren behind this. Reynor is not going to be having a secondary plan as a follow-up of, oh, well, I'll be able to get Roaches. No, Scarlett is the only one with the Roach Warren. She now scouts the first group of Lings, but will she be able to see the rest? Well, there we go, on to the third base. His Lings are going to be split off to deal with these Banelings, and Reynor just focusing down the hatchery, and that's a great Baneling hit. But the Banelings now coming on over. Reynor has to be careful. Scarlett pulls away the drones. Baneling connections don't hit that well, but the Lings are going to go back in, and Scarlett leaves the third base just alone. That means that's going to go down. Reynor already a massive advantage in this game. The Ling flood paying off. Losing the third is essentially going to propel Scarlett now into an all-in, as she has 5 Roaches on that production tab, trying to fight in the natural, but is even going to lose that trade, as Lings are just being so annoying, and the Roaches are going to try and come out, but they're already been scouted. Reynor now knows that the Roach threat is here. He's going to continue to produce Zerglings. No workers in that production tab for either side. 6 drones go down. Scarlett loses a base, and now you're going to lose even more. The Baneling connection is just so good for Reynor. This is going to be a very quick game is what it seems like, as Scarlett trying to fight with the Roaches, but there are just so many Lings, and until you get a good amount of Roaches, of course, they are just straight up countered by a whole lot of fast Zerg boys, as Reynor's going to come through. He's already up 20 supply. GG is called. Reynor can take game number 1. Here we are, game number 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on to Blackburn, and we're on to US East. So in the bottom left, it is Scarlett for Shopify Rebellion. And onto the bottom right, we have Kitesea Gaming's Reynor. I was just enjoying the banter in the post-game. Reynor saying that he has more ping to US East servers than Central. Of course, when you're doing EU versus NA, you do sometimes swap up that server. So I believe we had our first map on, I think US East is the best server, and then it swapped to US Central. I'm not sure exactly where Scarlett is right now. But of course, with the WTL and with any online tournaments, you do have servers. Of course, we had Katowice as a LAN, but that was the last big LAN that we actually had. And of course, there are more to be expected, but with team leagues like this and with online cups, you can't really bring players all the way over to one spot. So you're still going to be dealing, of course, with some of the potential flag issues, but it's really an issue that I think is surprisingly the least prominent a lot of times. You know, in other games, you'll see sometimes a ping issue can make or break a match. In StarCraft 2, I think usually a lot of players are so good at playing and they know how to play with ping and these slight ping differences in these high-level matches that you really barely even notice sometimes that that's the case. So it's really cool to see. And that's, I think, one of the best things about StarCraft is that we get so much content and so many tournaments that happen online just because we can. Because the game is, well, that's the one place that's optimized fairly well. So we're going to see Scarlett here go for the early gold base. She's going to be transferring the drones right on over. Also sending one out to potentially take a third base at the top of the map is what this looks like. Where is this drone going for Scarlett? Is it scouted by the Overlord? It's just brought back, so maybe it was a misclick. But we're going to be seeing Scarlett at least try and get to some early aggression, trying to get to an early lead in this game. You already see that income racing just a little bit ahead of her opponent. It's not that much, just right now 100 to 200 minerals per minute. It won't make a massive difference, but it is enough to get you those few more links, to get you a few more banelings. Just have a little bit more production than your opponent, and that is really where the big difference is when you take this early gold base on Blackburn. It's easily defendable. In this matchup, Lings cannot get in the backside of it, so you have pretty much a base that you're not really worried about your opponent taking advantage of it. And as Reynor is going to place down his third, has his Baneling Nest on away, it is quite a bit quicker than Scarlett's, about 10-15 seconds or so. And in reality, unless Reynor is preparing for some sort of an all-in attack, that should not make too much of a difference, as we have the first Lings pushing out here, attacking the base. And another advantage of this early gold, if it does go unpunished, of course, is the fact that you have taken this gold base, and so your third is actually at your natural. Your base that is going to be mining for longer is closer to your main base, and that just ends up being an advantage that compounds. You know, if you're able to take a faraway base, you have those close bases left later in the game. And so Scarlett is going to be taking her third base at that location. Banelings are on the way now. Additional gas is being placed down as Reynor trying to run a few Lings in here. Scarlett doing a good job with the body block. Has to be careful. Those Banelings are about to pop. And again, Scarlett takes a massive Baneling hit. And this is, I mean, multiple times this has happened, as now Baneling's going to try and roll on into the gold base. A lot of the drones getting very, very low there as Reynor's looking to run some Lings in. Baneling's trying to chase it down. There's only a single queen here, and these drones, they're all so low. Somehow they managed to avoid the Baneling and the Lings. Scarlett. Not Cyril. I'm so used to that matchup, but Scarlett doing a great job mitigating the threat there. As now, well, Scarlett going to continue to prove Lings. She's going to actually run across the map. Has Banelings. Oh, but 4 Banes into the main. Scarlett, are you ready for this? No, you're not. As 10 drones go down, it's 33 to 21 all of a sudden. And Reynor, it's a heavy committal, of course, across the map, but it is so worth it for the Italian Stallion. As a good Bane hit goes off for Scarlett, she tries to run 3 Banelings in, immediately gets denied by the Baneling. Again, Reynor doing so good with this, but 12 roaches are on the way. And that is the gold-based money all being used up now for Scarlett. She had that Roach Warren first. She's going to get these units across the map. Of course, there is still the defender's advantage to keep in mind. But is Reynor actually going to produce roaches? Only one on the way right now. And Scarlett's going completely all in. She has not produced any more workers than she needs to. She's still at 21. She hasn't rebuilt any. Her main is barely mining. She is just surviving right now on this gold base income. But you need to find some way to end this game, and this roach push, this is going to have to be it for Scarlett. If she can knock down that third base, obviously that's going to be a great start, and it looks like Reynor is just going to give it up. He's not even going to try and hold the third. He knows that that is a death wish if he tries to. As Lings are going to run in, they're going to see, hey, there's not really that many drones here at the main. Reynor has to know this is an all-in. More spine crawlers in production, more roaches in production. 20 Lings for Scarlett. And she has managed to get rid of the third base. This is, I mean, it's a consolation prize right now for Scarlett. She still needs to try and end this game because look how much Reynor is mining. It's almost double that of his opponent. The Bandits are going to roll in, but they only get the Lings. And the Roach count is actually heavily in favor of Scarlett, who right now has a massive army supply advantage, up at least 20. And she's going to try and dive on the Roaches. Good Corrosive Vials. Make sure that the Queens have to pull back. More Lings streaming on in as more Ravagers are coming on up. And Reynor, he has more supply, but it's 20 supply ahead in workers as this is a great surround by the Lings. The Corrosive Vials do miss, but the Queens are just firing on the Zerglings. The Roaches are getting a good position. Scarlett is trying to take the fight, but Reynor is fighting tooth and nail. The Spine Crawler has to be repositioned. Corrosive Vials make it on Burrow, and I think Scarlett is doing it. 42 supply to 22 in the army. The drones are being brought to fight. Drones are going down. The spine has not been reburrowed. And Scarlett is absolutely crushing through. Lings on top of Roaches. The Ravager is still alive. And Reynor is not able to hold on. The all-in once again comes across the map as the spine just is not allowed to burrow. And the Queens are eventually going to go down. There we go. Now the drones are all going to fall, and even if Scarlett doesn't win the game here, the work count has been evened out, but it's a losing fight, and we go 1-1 in this set.